Rent's up 75%. Time to grow up, my dad said, slicing into turkey like he was carving my last ounce of patience. My name is Alana, and from wherever you're watching this, stay with me. Have you ever held your breath at your own family table, realizing the people who raised you now treat you like a tenant? I hadn't planned to cry at Thanksgiving dinner, but I hadn't planned on being humiliated either. I'd just gotten off a 12-hour shift. My phone still buzzed in my back pocket, unread client emails, unreturned investor calls. I was tired, burned out, but proud. For 3 years, I'd kept my family's business running, stepping in when Dad's health failed, when Mom got too overwhelmed, and when my younger sister, Melina, said she wasn't built for office work. I sacrificed everything. No vacations, no dates, no weekends. I missed my best friend's wedding. I missed 2 of my own birthdays. I missed myself. And I did it all without a single demand. Just one unspoken hope that one day they'd look at me the way they looked at her. But on Thanksgiving, that illusion shattered. Mom clinked her glass and beamed at Melina, who stood up with a sparkle in her eyes. "We got her a gift," Mom said. "Just a little something to say thank you to our golden girl." That's what they called her. Golden girl. The one who never showed up to work. The one who said spreadsheets gave her headaches. The one who crashed 2 cars and somehow became more beloved with each mistake. The butler stepped out. Yes, the butler. They'd hired help on my dime and handed Melina a tiny envelope. She squealed. The key fob sparkled before I even registered what it meant. Alexis. I whispered. A hybrid, Mom corrected proudly. She deserves comfort. I blinked. Slowly. The same week, I paid the $8,200 in taxes they forgot about. The same month, I worked 3 weekends in a row just to fix the Q3 budget crisis. Melina tossed the keys in the air and caught them like a movie scene. "You should see the leather," she giggled. "Oh. And it has voice control." I stared down at my mashed potatoes like they might tell me I was dreaming. Then Dad leaned in. "By the way, rent's going up. We're adjusting to inflation. Gotta pull your weight, you know?" My jaw clenched. "I already pay rent," I said quietly. "And we appreciate it," he replied. "But it's time to grow up, Alana. We can't keep subsidizing things for you." I laughed. Laughed. The kind of laugh that comes when your spirit finally gives up on being shocked. Because I paid. I paid for everything. I paid the mortgage. I paid for Dad's medications. I paid the quarterly insurance. I even paid to fix Melina's last accident, the one where she rear-ended a parked police cruiser. But sure, raise my rent. I didn't say anything else. I stood up slowly, folded my napkin, and smiled, a strange, eerie calm in my chest. "Thank you for dinner," I said. "Really?" Then I went to my room. Not to cry, not to scream, to prepare. That night, I opened my laptop. Every account, every login, every system they had handed to me to help manage. I began freezing everything with my name on it, and then I created a folder. One folder. Inside, every receipt, every wire transfer, every debt I'd absorbed, every check I'd signed. Then I wrote a simple email with a single sentence. "You said it's time to grow up. I agree." And I hit send. To everyone. Growing up, my parents used to say things like, "We're a unit. No matter what, we take care of our own." But somewhere along the line, our own stopped including me. They say family businesses are built on trust. Ours? Built on denial. My dad ran a mid-sized logistics company. Nothing glamorous, but steady. It paid the bills. When he got sick 3 years ago, sudden stroke, partial paralysis, it shook the whole foundation. That's when I stepped in. At first, it was temporary. I was supposed to help until things stabilized. They never stabilized. I quit my job, put my MBA on hold, moved back into the house I grew up in, not for comfort, but convenience. The plan was take over operations, bring in some revenue, and eventually get Dad to retire peacefully. Instead, I became the backbone of everything. I restructured contracts, negotiated better supplier deals, created an automated invoicing system that saved us nearly $30,000 a year. But did I get a salary?
Nope. We're family, they said.
Did I get equity? Of course not. You'll inherit it someday, they promised. Every success, they credited to good timing. Every failure, somehow my fault. When our biggest client nearly pulled out because of a shipment disaster, Melina had accidentally rerouted 12 pallets of merchandise to Montana instead of Miami. Guess who stayed up 2 nights correcting it?
Me.
But guess who got taken on a relaxation cruise afterward to recover from the stress? Melina. My sister didn't even work there anymore. She just floated in and out of the office like royalty, wearing designer sunglasses and tapping her nails on her phone like every email was beneath her. She once told me, "You have a work face." I don't. That's why they need you. No, Melina. That's why they used me. Mom always had a soft spot for her. Maybe because she was delicate, or dramatic, or beautiful in that loud, high-maintenance, Instagram-worthy kind of way. Whenever Melina failed, Mom found an excuse. She's just sensitive. She's going through something. She didn't mean it. But when I so much as frowned, "Alana, you need to watch your tone." My role was never daughter. It was shock absorber, buffer, cleaner, silent partner in a family where silence was mistaken for love. I paid every late bill. I answered every 3 a.m. client text. I turned down vacations and dates, saying, "I can't leave right now. The company needs me." No one asked if I needed anything. And when the money started coming in, not just steady but strong, they didn't say, "Thank you." They said, "Perfect. Now we can finally breathe." Melina got an apartment. Then a brand new wardrobe.
Spa weekends.
A puppy. I got my rent increased. And when I pushed back, gently, they'd say I was getting too big for my boots. That I was lucky to have a roof over my head. That I should be grateful. Grateful for what? For being the workhorse behind a family business that never put my name on the door? Grateful that every time they toasted success, I was the one washing the champagne glasses after? That Lexus wasn't a surprise. It was a statement. She's comfort. Your utility. But they forgot something that night. When you treat the foundation like an afterthought, eventually, the whole house shakes. And I was done holding up a structure that didn't see me. So I let it wobble. The folder I sent? It was just the beginning. I'd built the empire they stood on. And I was about to walk away. Let's see how well they stood without me. The signs weren't loud. They never are when you've trained yourself to overlook them. But once I sent that folder, once I gave myself permission to stop excusing the absurd, it was like the numbers started whispering to me. And what they said was horrifying. I logged back into our company systems. Not to save them, not anymore.
Just to see.
I had full access. They hadn't changed a single password. They were too used to me being the invisible scaffolding.
So I dug.
At first, I thought maybe I'd find a few extra charges here and there. Lavish dinners under client relations. A weekend getaway listed as a vendor summit. What I found was betrayal printed in black and white. Melina had been submitting expense reports. Dozens of them. All approved by Dad. I read through one with shaking fingers. Marketing consulting, $4,200. It was a 3-day stay at a luxury spa. Another line item? Team building retreat, $2,900. It was her birthday party. A third? Office refresh, $1,300. That one? Designer throw pillows and a custom espresso machine. But here's the kicker. She hadn't worked with us in over a year. On paper, she was listed as Creative Director Emeritus. An honorary title. A meaningless role. Except she was pulling in $8,000 per month as a consulting fee. No deliverables. No meetings. Nothing. Meanwhile, I'd been burning through 70-hour weeks, giving every drop of myself to keep the company alive. They weren't just ignoring me. They were stealing from me. That realization shifted something inside me. Something deep. It was like standing in a house you helped build, only to discover the family inside had been stripping it for firewood and blaming the drafts on you. Then came the worst part. There was an email thread labeled for Alana, which was strange, since I was the only one who never got those. I opened it. It was between my parents and our family lawyer. The subject line? Transition Plan, Melina's ownership options. My throat dried. Inside, they were mapping out how to transfer 40% of the company's shares to Melina under new management restructuring. The same company I was running. The same business I'd rescued from the brink. Dad had written, Alana doesn't think long-term. Melina has the vision. Mom replied, we just have to nudge Alana out gently. Don't want her feeling alienated. Alienated. They were planning a soft exile while I was paying their taxes, managing their payroll, and pretending I still had a family. I stared at that thread for a long time. Then I did something I hadn't done in years. I called my old mentor, Miss Devlin. She was the professor who had once told me, don't lose yourself proving your worth to people who benefit from your silence. I told her everything.
She didn't gasp.
Didn't sound surprised. She just said one sentence. Then let them feel what it's like to lose their foundation. And I knew what I had to do. I downloaded every report, forwarded every file, created a backup drive, and then I logged out.
Permanently.
But I wasn't done yet. They thought I froze the accounts just out of spite? Oh no. This next move? It would be strategic, surgical,
and public.
The kind of revenge that whispers in rooms they never thought I'd be invited to. Because while they were planning how to push me out, I'd been preparing how to leave a crater. I didn't scream, didn't confront them in the kitchen, didn't throw plates or demand justice. That's what they were used to, loud drama, fast forgiveness. But this time, I went silent. And silence, when strategic, becomes terrifying. You see, while they were busy whispering about my lack of vision, I was building a second company behind the scenes. It started small, an idea I had during the pandemic. A niche SaaS tool for small logistics firms. It tracked real-time shipping delays and optimized rerouting. I never pitched it to my family. I knew they'd laugh, say I was doing too much. So I built it in the cracks of time they didn't see. At 3 a.m. after double shifts. In coffee shops on weekends. At airport gates, when I traveled to meet clients they never knew existed. I called it Betrayal. And by the time Thanksgiving rolled around, I already had beta clients in 5 cities. I hadn't told anyone, not even my closest friends.
But now?
It was time to show the world. The plan was simple. Step 1. Pull all admin access from the family company accounts. Payroll, taxes, CRM, everything. Step 2. Lock them out of client dashboards and redirect top-tier clients to Betrayal with new, better contracts. Step 3. Let the financial systems crash just enough to send alarms. Not permanent damage, but a complete wake-up call. Step 4. Send the transition summary folder to our biggest vendors and longest-standing clients. With my name removed from all documents. With every receipt showing who actually ran the company. I wasn't petty. I was surgical, calculated, and strangely calm. On the day I started execution, Mom sent a text. Dinner tonight? Bring wine. Let's all move on. No apology. No ownership. Just the assumption that I'd be back like I always was. I didn't respond. Instead, I scheduled the email blast. Then I uploaded a video. One I filmed alone in my room. Just me. My face. No tears. No rage. Just facts.
Hi.
If you're watching this, you've probably worked with my family's company. For years, I've been the face you didn't see. The person behind the systems, the solutions, the success. But that ends today. Starting now, I'm stepping away. You're free to work with them, or to follow the person who actually built what you trusted. Then I listed Betrayal. Its mission. Its story. My name. I posted it privately. Timed it. 12 hours later, it would reach every vendor, client, and executive contact in our database. I scheduled it for 6 a.m.
Why?
Because by 6 a.m. the next day, they'd be logging into chaos. And I'd be waking up to my first official day, not as their daughter, not as their mule, but as a founder. And every step of the plan, Felt like cutting through my own chains. People ask if I felt guilty, if I worried about burning the bridge. But how do you burn a bridge that was never safe to walk across in the first place? At 6 a.m. sharp, the first lockout hit. Dad texted me at 6:08. Alana, the CRM won't open. Did we update the server?
By 6:12, he called. Twice.
I didn't pick up. By 6:25, Melina was blowing up my phone with voice notes that got more shrill by the second. Why are vendors emailing me? They're asking about some software you launched. What is this? Did you quit? Wait, is this about the car? There it was. At 6:38, the video launched. I had expected silence, or maybe slow shock. But I forgot how quickly panic travels when egos are cornered. The responses were electric. One of our biggest clients, a freight conglomerate in Florida, reposted the video with a caption, "The real mind behind the movement. We support the builder, not the brand." Another logistics director messaged me personally. "Didn't know you were the engine all along. We'll be switching platforms this quarter. Congratulations." Then came a flurry of emails from vendors, carriers, and service partners, not just supporting me, but offering funding. Apparently, people had been waiting for an excuse to distance themselves from my family's chaos. They just hadn't known how to do it gracefully. Now they had a reason. The cracks were forming. At 7:10 a.m., the staff accountant called. Her voice trembled. "I think the payroll system's corrupted. The interface says you removed access. Is this an error?" I didn't answer. At 8 a.m., Dad's name popped up again. No text. Just a call. I ignored it. Then another. And another. At 8:22, Mom finally broke the silence. A message, short and sharp. "We built this business for you. Why are you destroying it?" I stared at her words. They weren't true. And she knew it. They built it for them. I saved it for all of us. And now I was saving myself. I stood by the window, coffee in hand, as my phone vibrated nonstop. It felt like I was standing outside my own funeral, not mourning, but relieved. Because the version of me they buried under expectations and obligations, she was finally gone. By 9:30 a.m., Melina showed up at my apartment, banged on the door, screamed through it. "You ruined everything. You jealous, pathetic." I sat on the floor, calmly. Noise doesn't move me anymore. Let them rage. Let them feel. She left a voicemail when she gave up. "They're saying we can't pay the Lexus lease anymore. They're repossessing it. Are you happy now?" "No, Melina. I'm free now." By noon, the damage was irreversible. 3 executive accounts were shut down. The lawyer my parents trusted emailed me asking if I'd be open to a restructuring conversation. The word was out, and the most beautiful moment came not from their collapse, but from what grew in its place. That evening, Betrayal crossed 11,000 organic views on LinkedIn. I hadn't even launched marketing yet. A venture capital firm I'd once interned for messaged me directly. "We're intrigued. If you're seeking a Series A, let's talk." And just like that, the girl who once begged to be seen by her family was being seen by the world. I didn't plan for the business to fold. I just planned to walk away. But when a structure is held together by your spine and your silence, the moment you stand up and speak, it doesn't bend. It breaks. By Friday, the family company systems were limping. Emails bounced. Deliveries stalled. Clients redirected payments. HR had no idea who was employed and who wasn't. The golden girl? Melina posted a crying selfie on her Instagram story. People are so ungrateful. You give them your whole heart, and they hand you knives. No, Melina. You handed me debt, and I returned freedom. The Lexus was gone, towed from the front driveway while she stood outside in a designer robe screaming at the driver. He didn't even blink. By the next Monday, Mom called 3 times and left a voicemail in a tone I'd never heard from her before. We can't keep this going without you. Your dad's health is declining again. Please, just come for one meeting. Let's reset." A week earlier, They gave my sister a luxury car for being golden. Now they were begging the ghost they buried to come back and resurrect the corpse.
I didn't reply.
Instead, I sent a simple letter through the lawyer they trusted more than me. No anger. No emotion. Just a formal revocation of all financial permissions, system access, power of attorney, and association with the business. It ended with one line. I resign from the business. Effective immediately. With no regrets. Later that week, their second largest client officially signed with Betrayal. They sent a gift basket to my office and wrote, "We always knew it was you. Just didn't know how to follow." Collapse isn't always about explosions. Sometimes it's a gentle sinking. Like when you pull one brick from the base of a wall and watch it slowly lean, groaning, until gravity finishes the job. They called other family members. Spun stories. She betrayed us. She was greedy. She's acting out. But they weren't fools. One aunt texted me privately. "We always saw what you were doing. We were just too afraid to say it. You were the daughter they didn't deserve." And the best part? The world didn't just see them fall. It watched me rise. Within 2 weeks, I had interviews booked with startup podcasts, tech publications, and even a women in leadership panel. Melina tried to start her own lifestyle logistics brand. It failed in 3 days. She messaged me from a burner account. "Why are you acting like you're the victim? You could have just let me have some success too." I didn't reply. Because people like her? They don't understand that silence is not weakness. It's decision. They had mistaken my patience for passivity, my loyalty for stupidity, and now they understood. I was never the weak one. I was the pillar, and when the pillar walks out, the whole house learns how fragile it really was. The day my story was featured on Founders Weekly, I walked past my childhood home, the same house where I was once told I needed to grow up because I asked for a raise. The curtains were drawn. The driveway was empty, quiet. I didn't stop, because the future I was building, it didn't have space for people who only loved the version of me that served them. Betrayal scaled faster than I could have dreamed. My inbox turned into a flood of partnership requests, interviews, and, most touching of all, messages from women who whispered stories like mine. "Your story gave me courage to quit. I watched your video and finally said no." My mother cried watching it. She said you reminded her of the daughter she lost to burnout. I didn't cry often anymore. But those messages? They broke something soft open again. Something I hadn't let breathe in years. My first hire was a young woman named Imani. Smart.
Shy.
Brilliant with back-end code, but always too afraid to pitch ideas. I saw the look in her eyes. The same one I used to carry. I said to her during onboarding, "No one here will silence you. Not on my watch." That's what building from the ashes looks like. You don't just rise. You lift others with you. A month after Betrayal's formal launch, we were featured on a national business show. The host asked, "So, what made you walk away from your family's company?" I smiled, not bitter, just done. Because it was never mine. I was just the labor. Betrayal is my voice. My vision. My name. The comments flooded in. And for the first time in my life, people heard me, without needing someone else to translate my value. Then came the letter.
Typed.
Thick envelope. From my parents. No return address, but I knew the handwriting. Inside. A single-page letter. No apologies. Just a desperate attempt to rewrite history. We did what we thought was best. You always took things too personally. We love you in our own way. I folded it back up. Because in our own way is the same way they handed my sister Alexis while I begged for time off. The same way they erased me from client dinners but kept my reports in their briefcases. The same way they smiled at me in public but scoffed in private. I didn't burn the letter. I didn't reply. I just put it away, in a drawer filled with old paperwork from a version of me that no longer needed closure from people who never offered it. 3 months later, my company held its first annual summit. Not in a cold boardroom, but on a rooftop. The same kind they once booked for Melina's birthday. Only this time, the banners didn't say Golden Girl or Our Favorite. They said Founder, Leader, architect. And as I looked around at the people clapping, the clients laughing, and the team that now called me their mentor, I realized I had never been the black sheep. I had just been born into the wrong herd.
And now,
I was building a new one. One that knew the difference between blood ties and soul allies. It happened on a Tuesday. I was in a cafe downtown, mentoring 2 college interns who'd reached out after the summit. We were laughing over pastries when my old high school teacher walked in, did a double take, and said, "Alana?" I stood and hugged her. She looked stunned. "You've become something. I heard your parents' business shut down, but you're everywhere." I smiled.
gently.
The kind of smile that carries pain and power at once. It was overdue, and I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. She nodded, eyes shining. And I realized in that moment, people notice more than we think. Even when your own family pretends you're invisible, the world might still be watching, waiting for you to rise. That same evening, I walked past my old house again. It had a for sale sign in the yard. No Lexus. No noise. Just a quiet, tired lawn. The house that once echoed with my parents' judgments, where I worked late nights, saving their empire, was now just a shell. Funny thing is, I didn't feel triumph. I felt peace. Because the real victory isn't in their collapse. It's in my calm. Later that night, I sat at my desk, scrolling through hundreds of messages. But one caught my eye from Melina. Just a subject line. "I know you hate me, but please read." I hovered, then opened it. I don't know what I expected. I guess I thought they'd always pick me. But they didn't just lose a daughter. They lost the whole damn engine. You kept us afloat. And we laughed at you. I don't want anything.
I just needed to say that.
I'm sorry. I didn't reply. Not because I hated her, but because some chapters don't need sequels. They need endings. And mine? It had already closed, with grace, not vengeance. The next morning, I stood in front of 300 people at a tech convention. I was the keynote speaker. They asked me how it all started. I said, with betrayal. With a dinner where I was told to grow up while my sister got a Lexus. But more than that, it started with silence. The kind of silence you only break when you finally realize your worth. They clapped. Some stood. But I wasn't thinking about applause. I was thinking about a girl 3 years ago, eating leftovers in a cold office, wondering if anyone would ever see her. I wish I could go back and tell her, "They saw you wrong, but one day, the whole world will see you right." And they did. Not because I screamed, but because I created. Because I built something so solid, so clean, so mine, it no longer mattered who tried to deny me before. They told me to grow up. So I did. I grew so far, so wide, so high, that now they can't even reach me. And that's the kind of justice no court, no argument, no apology can ever match. It's the sound of a door closing softly and a life opening fully.